I'm telling you, based upon my fight against gentrification, my background in urban planning, environmental policy, this is not your granddaddy's TxDOT. And this is not 1956 and Interstate Highway Bill. And so I ask everybody to keep an open mind, ask the questions, don't listen to the noise, and follow the facts. And TxDOT at this particular point, up to this point, has been very accommodating in all of the things that the committee has asked. And I believe with input and not rhetoric, with facts and not fiction, that we'll be able to shape a project that not only will have great economic benefits, but will take care of those who, not that they would bounce back, but they would bounce forward. Because if you're poor and you get knocked back 3 steps and you bounce back, you're still poor. And this is real. This isn't some made up thing. If we don't want it and we're going to fight over it, they can move that and we'll move that money to another district, and we will still have the problems of flooding, congestion, and all the things that go along with it.
Some years ago, we started building housing for people who didn't have a place to live in Houston, the homeless. As a matter of fact, to live in one of our apartments, you have to have been homeless for at least a year. And ultimately, we came to an agreement as to what our property would be worth in the marketplace, and ultimately how we would really handle the relocation of our residents. You know, that's when we really discovered that TxDOT, wasn't in a position to do harm, but to actually help. We're actually looking forward to the potential of some workforce development efforts in collaboration with TxDOT as we move forward on our new project. And imagine a difficult to employ demographic of people having access not only to the jobs, but having access to the skills and the upskilling necessary to prepare these folk for gainful employment.
I want to start by thanking TxDOT for their commitment. For the last 2 years, I've spent in dialogue with TxDOT along with my colleagues to talk about the things and the potential for our communities. And all too often, we sit back and wait and allow things to happen to us. And TxDOT has really extended an opportunity for us to tell them what we want to see happen for our communities. And I'm excited that TxDOT has invested enough time, energy, and resources to make sure that the families and businesses being impacted by this expansion project are being improved greater than or equal to. Minister Muhammad said best, this is not our grandfather's TxDOT. And this is a real opportunity for us to take those families who are vulnerable and largely disadvantaged and put them in better living conditions and better opportunities. We are concerned, don't get it wrong, we are concerned about losing density in our communities, and we're working diligently with TxDOT to make sure that community resources avail themselves so that those people who are interested in staying in our community have the opportunity to stay in areas like 5th Ward, Independence Heights, and the 3rd Ward. That is critically important for us. We as community leaders are not ignorant to the impact, because we can firsthand tell you the experience of what I-10 and I-59 did to areas like 5th Ward and 3rd Ward. My family was impacted. We don't want to see that happen again. So we're not going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs and be negligent in responding when we have an opportunity to respond, to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. So TxDOT has been very ingenuous in terms of making sure that we have opportunities to help our families, to help our businesses, and we want to continue that conversation. So my goal tonight is to quieten the noise that you're hearing about the injustice that TxDOT is doing on our communities, because we believe from what we've seen and what we are experiencing with the examples that have been given to you tonight, that our communities are able to recover better and are able to transition to a better quality of life than they have today. The pictures of Clayton Holmes and the pictures of Kelly, those are sad, and that saddens our heart to see the people are living in those type of conditions and complacent with those type of conditions. This is a real opportunity to move renters from rental to home ownership and for renters to better rental opportunities. So let me applaud TxDOT and say that we're not letting the pressure off them. We're holding them to the fire, and we're holding them accountable and making them responsible to keeping their commitments to our communities, ensuring a better quality of life as a result of this North Houston expansion project. Thank you for your time.
I am very, very sensitive to TxDOT. TxDOT wrecked my family, my grandmother's house, her brothers, wiped out the whole neighborhood I lived in, and turned Wheatley High School into a, reduced it to whatever it is now, from the bold neighborhood that it was. And that was then. So for me to now see TxDOT responding to, oh, well, now there's going to be a Gregg exit, or now there can be a Cleburne crossing, and now there, those kinds of things that would create connectivity, it's redemptive. It's saying that those things that happened 60 years ago to me and my family are not happening now.
What this TxDOT has done is committed that the footprint that we had, meaning the boundaries and the ground that we had, you have said we are going to reinvest and make sure that families have opportunities to come back into our communities. We can't control what people are going to do, but we can work with organizations like yours to be able to make sure that we get what's best for our communities.
Look at who's talking. And if you don't see the people who are in those communities out there talking, then that should bring a question mark up in your head. Everybody knows Independence Heights is the first Black municipality in the state of Texas. And some of the problems included flooding, also displacement, and then cultural erasure. We started talking with TxDOT in 2016. They came to us. We didn't go to them. They came to us and said, here's what's going to happen. How can we make this project better your community? And as the time went on, we were able to come up with some ideas and some thoughts behind, these are the things that we need. This is what it's going to look like in the future. And this is what we're going to need in order to make this a better place for the people who want to be here. Our Congresswoman got involved in that. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, she made sure that TxDOT does what they say they're going to do. Our priority is to deal with flooding. We'll deal with environmental justice issues that are going to deal with air monitoring and sound barriers, and also deal with flooding. We flooded over and over again. This project will take Independence Heights and several other communities out of that flood zone, so we don't have to have buyouts in our communities.
Our interests in the project have been purely based on how it will affect Black and Brown communities. And this project is transformative. Next slide, please. So what we've been doing is working with identifying best practices that would help meet the needs of the impacted communities. We developed our core strategy for housing, education, and financial literacy to help people understand not just the opportunity that it presents for home ownership, but how to manage the financial benefits that this project will present to the consumers, homeowners, tenants that are in this affected community. There was a tenant who elected to remain a tenant, and the decent, safe, and sanitary housing, there was a difference in the rents of roughly $600. And the 42-month supplement equated to $19,000. The relocation benefit was $1,200, and this tenant was given a lump sum of $20,000. but not only that, have the opportunity to become homeowners, to have the opportunity to create generational wealth for their families. And we have been extremely pleased with every aspect of the project from TxDOT.